Hello everyone, welcome back to Science Talk Show. Here you will meet the research enthusiasts who will share their experience and motivate you to be extraordinary in the field of science. Today you are going to meet Dr. Priyanka Singh, Scientific Officer at UP Council of Sugarcane Research, Shahjahanpur. She has been extensively researching on sustainable sugar recovery, quality and yield attributes of sugarcane, including quality attributes of jaggery production and post-harvest quality deterioration in promising sugar varieties. So without any further ado, let's welcome Dr. Priyanka.
Hello. Hello.
Ma'am.
Thank you for having me here.
To begin with, ma'am, you must have noticed, unlike CSIR, DPT, or any other national exams which are being conducted for the fellowship for the science students who want to pursue their PhD or any other career in science, DST Women Scientist Fellowship is not that famous. In fact, I would say some girls who knows about it do not know how to really apply for it, and there are many girls who are not even aware about it. So since you avail this facility, I would like to know from you that what are the procedure and how one can apply for this DST Women Scientist Fellowship.
Yeah, very true, Sobin. Actually, this is a fabulous scheme which is given by Department of Science and Technology. And if I talk about myself, there was a time in my life that beside having a PhD degree, a good academic record, and positions in the graduation level and post-graduation level, I was staying back at home after my marriage, and I was taking care of my family and son. And at that time, I was not having any clue on how to start my work and my career again in the right direction. So it was quite frustrating for me at one time when I was not able to utilize my skills, my academic experience, and all the hard work that I had put into my academics. That was all going in vain, according to my thoughts at that time. So then I came across this scheme that is conducted by Department of Science and Technology. And I had a conversation with one of my relatives. Following that, I researched upon this scheme, and I found it to be an amazing prospective base to restarting my career, and which it definitely turned out to be. So this scheme, that is basically a women scientist scheme, WOS A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. So this scheme is extremely helpful for the women who have taken a long break in their career, like because of some family responsibilities or marriage, or sometimes because of the motherhood that happened, they have the break in career. And so for that women, this is a fantastic scheme. And apart from this, I would also like to say that we gained vast amount of exposure and experience during the presentation and workshops of the scheme, especially since we were able to interact the women pursuing research in the field of STEM. So as you say, to every woman who looks forward to a career in the field of STEM, who has a break in career, that is the essential qualification which is required for this scheme. That is, you must have a break in career. So because of one or the other reason. So I wish to tell you that this scheme is absolutely achievable by the scheme of DST, given that you have the will to put your heart and mind to it. And this is an excellent platform that can form a fundamental using which the women, they may enter the field that they would have always envisaged a career in. So if you can aspire a career in it, you can definitely work towards fulfilling it as well. And for the further details, you can visit the website of Department of Science and Technology. Basically, there are three if I talk about the WOSA scheme, which I had taken, it has 3 different types of categories. Like it depends upon the qualification you have. If you have a PhD degree, there is a WSA for PhD. If you have postgraduate degree in some, I mean to say, like M.Pharma, MPhil, or if you have a postgraduate degree, even in the basic sciences, you can apply. There are 3 different categories. The women who are aged between 27 to 57 years, they can apply. And the fellowships, it ranges between 31 to 55K per month, and the contingencies are 30 to 50 lakhs. So for the details, you visit this Department of Science and Technology website, and you will get the details over there. So I must say, whosoever the women, they are having the break in career, most of the time it happens we don't have any clue after marriage or after motherhood, from where to start now. So this scheme turned out to be excellent for me, as you can see, and I hope it helps other women too.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing this procedure. Even we can give a link of DST website in our comment box through which students can avail and go on and check the facility and the procedure on DST scholarship. Next question is related to your postdoc itself. I can see you choose to work on chemistry of sugar since your postdoc. And later on, you became scientific officer in Uttar Pradesh Council of Sugarcane Research. So I would like to know, was this a choice or a chance?
Actually, it is quite interesting, Souvin. I would like to share from this platform. Actually, the passion to pursue a career in this field was initially provided an impetus by the fact that my father completed his post-graduation in chemistry. And after that, he wished to study further in this field, but he could not because of some familial responsibilities. And then I picked up the subject due to his passion, and then later developed an interest of my own in the subject. So if I talk about my journey with sugarcane, it started back in the year 1997, almost 25 years back. And it was a time when I completed my post-graduation, and I started my research on the topic efficacy of organophosphorus derivatives against fungal pathogens of sugarcane. And it was my PhD topic. So in that, wherein I synthesized around 37 organophosphorus derivatives belonging to 6 different series of chalcones that are basically alpha beta unsaturated ketones, and they have quite a good antimicrobial activity. So the series which I prepared was chalcone oxenes, semicarbazones, hydrozones, and thiosemicarbazones and dithiocarbazones. Now, after synthesis of these series of compound, these derivatives were then screened for their fungi-toxic properties against 3 different fungus. Now, the fungus that I chose, they were responsible for different diseases in sugarcane crop. Like I tested these compounds again, Colatotrichum falcatum. This is a fungus which is responsible for the most devastating diseases in sugarcane, that is red rot. And I tested it against Fusarium oxysporum, that is responsible for the wilt disease in sugarcane, and Curvularia pellicin, that causes leaf spot disease in sugarcane. So in my case, the best fungi-toxic property was recorded with the chalcone thiosemiCarbazone and chalcone dithiocarbazoate. So during my PhD, I came across this wonderful crop, sugarcane. And I completed my PhD in the year 2000. Later, I was again fortunate enough to carry out my work with the sugarcane crop during my postdoctoral research. as I was talking about this TST scheme. So in that, I again worked with sugarcane, and this time my work was based on microbiological and biochemical aspects of pre and post harvest losses of sugar from sugarcane at field as well as at the factory level and its management. So, due to my experience and exposure that I gained during my PhD work and during my post-doc in this sugarcane, I am now working as a full-time scientist in a sugarcane research, that is UP Council of Sugarcane Research, Shahjahanpur, where research is being conducted on almost all aspects of sugarcane related to this crop, whatever research is there related to the sugarcane. So basically, it was first chemistry, then it was biochemistry, then now I'm in sugar chemistry and jaggery chemistry. So things change, but one thing that did not change at all, that was sugarcane. It was the main constituent of my professional as well as my academic career.
Well, while researching on the sugarcane, one should know that we have to adopt a sustainable growing methods. So since you are so much expert in on this topic, I would like to know what are the different sustainable at profitable strategies which farmer can undertake while growing sugarcane.
Yeah, very interesting question as far as related to farmers. You see, now if a farmer is doing sugarcane cultivation, there should be two objectives in mind. First of all, they must reduce the cost of cultivation or cost of production. And secondly, they should do the practice that increases the per unit production, per unit area of production. You see, the area is now sufficient. If we talk about the sugarcane cultivation in India, the area is sufficient. We don't require further expansion of the area as far as sugarcane is concerned, but we need to increase the per unit production that we are having right now for the sugarcane. The varieties which we are using, they have the potential for that. But what we require is the proper packaging practices. Right from the beginning up to the harvesting, the packaging packages which is recommended, the farmer should adopt and follow that. That requires from beginning, if I talk about the soil testing, so all these things, all the points that I'm going to mention, they are going to reduce the cost of cultivation as well as they will increase the per unit production of the sugarcane as well. Whether it's the soil testing, if you go for the soil testing, and it should be made mandatory for all the farmers, the soil testing should be carried out. Because if you go for that, it ultimately reduces your cost of production. If there is something abundant found in your soil, you don't need to apply that much whatever is recommended or like that, vice versa. So soil testing should be carried out. One thing I always want to say, and I platforms, that is the leveling of the land. Now, Sobin, these things sounds very small or very little, like they must not be having that impact. But ultimately, when you see, they have a huge impact on your cost of production as well as the produce or the yield that you are getting of your produce. So leveling is also very important. It cuts your cost of production and ultimately it increases your yield also. जब land हमारा level नहीं होता है, like up down होता है, तो what happens? The irrigation water which we give, that also is much, and whatever fertilizer that we are giving, that the crop is not taking up evenly. The absorption is not going to be evenly when the land is not leveled. So leveling should be done before starting your or before planting your crop or whatever you are going to plant. It is mandatory not only for sugarcane, whatever crop you are going for, you should level your land first. That will ultimately help you in the reducing your cost of cultivation. Then For sugarcane, as you know, it is a long duration crop. लगभग 1 साल का ये crop होता है. So the time of planting is also very important, because scientifically everything is has been recommended on the basis of science. Scientific inputs are there. So the time that is recommended for sugarcane cultivation, that should be thoroughly followed if you want a proper germination of your planting. See, अगर हमें germination proper मिल जाता है, तो more than half of the task has been done, क्योंकि that is the base for getting a better production or better yield in a later stage of the crop cycle. So germination should be good, and that depends on the time of planting. So the time of planting is also very important. Then comes the seed material. For sugarcane, we use the vegetative part of the crop. You know, sugarcane को ही काट कर we use it as a seed. So seed should be certified. अच्छी जगह से seed लेना चाहिए. Basically, what happens? Farmers जो भी अपना crop लगाए हुए हैं, they cut and they use it as a seed material without monitoring that their cane has been infected by pest or by diseases. So seed material should be also taken care of. And before planting, the treatment of seed is also very important if you want a better production or good yield of a crop. So treatment of seed is important. Certified seed should be taken. Then in the last 2-3 years, what happened because of the liking of the sugar mills or the liking of the farmers, what they did, they just patronized one single variety of sugarcane, and it led to a severe epidemic of red rot. Red rot is a kind of disease of a sugarcane crop. So एक variety नहीं लगा के, we should have a proper varietal balance. Don't go for a single variety. From this platform, I want to say to the farmers, एक variety नहीं लगा के, go for at least 2 or 3 varieties. In sugarcane, we have early varieties, we have mid-late varieties. Instead of planting one variety, go for 2 variety or 3 varieties. There are many elite early and mid-late sugarcane varieties. So what happened, अगर आपके एक variety में कोई severe disease भी हो गया, like it happened red rot, so you have in your kitty other varieties that you can always supply to the mill. So varietal balance should be followed by the farmers. And when I talk about the pest and this diseases, and I'm talking about the red rot, I would also like to say from this platform that अगर आपके field में red rot था, पिछले साल का गन्ने में था, तो आप कोई और crop लगाओ. Go for a crop rotation. एक के बाद एक गन्ना ही नहीं लगा के go for a crop rotation. अगर आपके थोड़ा भी आपको लगता है कि थोड़ा disease था या pest था, तो you should always go for a crop rotation. कोई और crop लगाए, और फिर उसके बाद next year to next year you can again plant the sugarcane. But this time you should go for some other crop, because what happens, the inoculum of this fungus, whatever disease is spreaded, इसका inoculum जो है, it survives in the soil. This is a soil-borne disease. So inoculum persists in the soil, and when you plant the sugarcane, it infests the seed, or later on it is reflected in the cane. और फिर तब देर हो चुकी होती है, and you cannot do anything. So crop rotation should be followed. Follow the trench method of planting because it has many advantages. Whether it is reducing the cost of production or getting a good produce or good yield. Trench method of planting should be there. And when I talk about reducing the cost of production, I would also say go for drip irrigation. Instead of flooding, generally क्या होता है, किसान जो है वो उसमें पानी डाल दिया and वो flood पूरा कर देते हैं अपने खेत में. That much water is not required actually. So irrigation, there is a wastage of water, wastage of money, and the crop is also not getting the I mean, it is also affected, negatively affected because of the flooding. So you should always go for drip irrigation. And if drip irrigation now government is giving so much of subsidy and so many schemes are there, you can always adopt this drip irrigation. And if drip irrigation is not there, you should always give light irrigation. And
Okay.
you should keep small intervals, and on small intervals light irrigation should be given. Our honorable prime minister has also emphasized on per drop more crop. So then also it becomes important that we should go for this drip irrigation. And I tell you one study that was carried out at our UPCSR Shahjahanpur. Not only it saves the irrigation water by 33 to 50%, but the yield was also increased when we adopted this drip irrigation.
Wow.
So farmers, yeah. So you should go for this, and then time to time the cultural operation should be done properly, because it controls the weeds, as well as you require the aeration in the soil for the proper growth of your plant. So when you go for the intercultural operations, it not only removes the weeds, but it also improves the production of your crop, because the soil gets the proper aeration. So this is also important. And when I talk about reducing the cost of production, I must say that now it is the need of the hour that we should go for mechanization in sugarcane.
Yes.
And I must say, Sobin, that now from, as I talked about the leveling of the field, from leveling up to whether it is leveling or I must say the planting, there are automatic trench cutter planter. Then for all the intercultural operations, for everything, the implements are there, the machines are there. So you can always go, like you see, there is the scarcity of labor. Labor is too much, and after this pandemic, the condition has become even worse. So in the coming time, we require the mechanization, and in sugarcane, it has found to be very useful in terms of reducing cost of production. Here, the study which we did, it reduces the cost around 4 folds, I must say.
Okay.
So go for mechanization. Yeah, you can always purchase the implements, or now the government is putting farm machinery banks. In these banks, you can get these implements on very nominal charges. You can rent these implements, and you can always use in your field. So mechanization is also important for sustainable sugarcane production. Then when you have already grown your crop up to, as I told you that it is a long duration crop, the harvesting should be always of the matured crop. ये भी गलती करते हैं farmers कि जल्दी जल्दी वो दूसरा कुछ crop लगाने के लिए they cut the sugarcane, and without checking that their produce is matured or not. It affects not only the sugar industry because the recovery is low when the crop is not mature, but it also affects the farmer, because generally here in northern India, the farmers are paid on the basis of the weight of the cane. So when the crop is not fully matured, the proper weight is not there. So they did not get the optimal value of their produce. So that should be also always taken care of, that they harvest the proper mature crop. And after harvesting, the supply should be quickly done to the factories, because sometimes this also happens that farmers ने काट कर रख लिया अपना गन्ना, and they are supplying after 7 days or after 10 days. So that time the post harvest losses aggravates in the cane. Now again it affects the sugar industry as well as the farmers, because the sugar which has been formed in the cane, it is the inversion takes place, and the sugar converts into different other compounds, whether it is alcohol or mannitol or levain or reducing sugars. As well as after the harvesting, if there is late in supply, Most of the cane, it is formed of water. 70 to 72% of the cane is constitute of moisture or water. So after harvesting, the moisture evaporation take place. So again, the farmer gets affected because फिर weight नहीं होगा cane में, and you will not get the right value of your produce. So you should, yeah. One thing I forgot about the ratoon management. There is a very good implements and machines for ratoon management also in sugarcane. Basically, ratoon is like sugarcane में एक जो बहुत अच्छी चीज, बहुत अच्छी खासियत होती है, that is that एक बार आपने sugarcane लगा दिया, then you harvest it, and the next time you don't have to put seed or you don't have to go for preparation of the field. जो भी जो पार्ट्स उसके अंदर है सॉइल के अंदर, उससे हमें दूसरा क्रॉप मिलता है. We can take second crop from that. We can take third crop from that, and that is known as ratoon sugarcane. So almost 25 to 30% of the cost of production is of seed if we talk about sugarcane cultivation. So when we go for ratoon, seed का आपका cost बचता है, field preparation का आपका cost बचता है. But generally what happens, farmers, they don't take care of the ratoon crop. So ultimately जो production ratoon का होता है, that is not very good as compared to the plant cane. So I would like to most of the and if we talk about the land, around 50% of the land is of ratoon cane. So I would also like to say to the farmers that ratoon management पे भी proper emphasis should be given, whether it is the cultural operations or the fertilizer applications or the irrigation proper at the proper time, or whatever cultural operation is recommended, it should be carried out in the ratoon also. And there is a very good ratoon management device. You can use that for proper management of the ratoon. One thing I forgot about when I talk about the fertilizer, that the fertilizer should be integrated. Integrated nutrient fertilizer should be used. Sometimes what happened, the farmer said, I applied the recommended dose, whatever you said, but I did not get the proper yield. This is because you are applying the chemical fertilizer, but you are not checking about the organic fertilizer that needs to be applied along with the chemical fertilizer. Chemical fertilizer is not absorbed by the plant if the microbes that is required in the soil is present in this soil. That microbes, they convert these fertilizer into compounds that are absorbed by the plants. तो अगर ये ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स या ऑर्गेनिक माइक्रोब्स जो होते हैं वो अगर आपके सॉइल में नहीं है, तो आप कितना भी फर्टिलाइजर आप अप्लाई कर लो, it is not going to be absorbed by the plant. So ultimately, whatever fertilizer, mostly urea, whatever you are applying, it all goes in vain. 90% it is evaporated, it is leached out, and so make sure that along with the chemical fertilizer, the biofertilizer and the organic fertilizer are also applied for proper absorption of whatever fertilizer you are giving to the plant.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम, आपने हर चीज एक एक बारीकी से समझाया. और ये चीज मैं ये बोलना चाहूंगी कि सिर्फ फार्मर्स के लिए नहीं है, आजकल एग्रीकल्चर स्टूडेंट्स बहुत एग्रीकल्चर में जा रहे हैं एंड नॉन रिलेटेड. सरप्राइजिंगली आफ्टर कोविड हमने ये देखा है बहुत सारे सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स एग्रीकल्चर में आना चाहते हैं. तो हर एक चीज जो बारीकी से आपने समझाया, हर किसी के लिए बहुत अच्छे से हो सकता है. और एक चीज मैं और ऐड करना चाहती हूँ कि लाइक आपने जो भी चीजें समझाई वो हर उसी तरह से फॉलो की जाए, क्योंकि भले ही गन्ने से चीनी मिल में निकाली जाती हो, लेकिन चीनी बनना स्टार्ट होता है लैंड प्रिपरेशन से तक गन्ने तक मिल तक आने तक. सो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि आप अपने लैंड प्रिपरेशन, हार्वेस्टिंग, हर चीज प्रॉपरली करें. थैंक यू सो मच. सिंस अब बात शुगर की आई है, तो मैं एक चीज और पूछना चाहती हूँ. बहुत सारे लोग हैं कि शुगर को एक कल्प्रिट मानते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि उनको मधुमेह, डायबिटीज इन जैसी बीमारियां शुगर खाने से हो रही है। तो मैम इस पे आपका क्या कहना है कि क्या शुगर ही ऐसा मतलब इतना खराब चीज है, या फिर इट्स सो मच गिविंग डिसएडवांटेज टू द बॉडी, or it is like some lifestyle things, or what exactly it is reason behind this diabetes and all this kind of diseases?
Yeah, very relevant, actually, very relevant questions, Robin, in today's perspective, when most generally for many diseases and many things, we are just blaming sugar. But I want to tell you from, and I want to tell everyone from this platform that this is completely a myth that sugar is responsible for obesity or for diabetes, or sometimes they blame for the dental health also sugar. It is completely a myth. And so far, there is no scientific fact or evidence regarding this. In fact, I would say sugar, when I say sugar, I refer to both the natural sugars that is present in our fruits or in milk or in vegetables, and also to the added sugar which we take either in the form of honey or jaggery or white sugar or maple syrup or whatever, the added sugar. So, so basically, sugar, glucose is also a form of sugar. It is a constituent of sugar. So glucose is the body's primary source of fuel, I should say, and it comes from the breakdown of the sugar or the sucrose. And this sucrose, it contains a fructose molecule and a glucose molecule. And when we consume the sugar, the body splits this sucrose into, sucrose is made up of two constituents, one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose. So when we consume the sucrose, our body splits it into two molecules, like in glucose and in fructose. Now, there is a hormone that is insulin, which is present in our body, and this insulin, it helps to transport this glucose to the cells. And there in the cells, the glucose, it gets metabolized and it is converted into an energy. So without glucose, we couldn't think of having an stamina. Now, apart from giving an instant energy, this glucose is also stored sometimes. The process is known as glycogenesis. We have been studied in our school time, that glycogenesis.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting here that we should be mindful of our intake, that whatever we are consuming, because when glucose exceeds the storage capacity, some of the glucose, it is converting into energy and the body is using it, and rest of it is the body keep it stored, and it is used later or whenever the body required the energy, this glucose is used. But there is a certain storage capacity for glucose. So if we take more of that sugar, the storage capacity is full, then this glucose is converted into fat molecules. So then it becomes alarming when it starts storing in a form of fat. Otherwise, it is very good. It is an instant source of energy. And I would also say that sugar makes us happy as it activates the pleasure center of our brain. And studies have also proved that the basic fuel for proper functioning of some of our brain cells, our red blood cells, and our nervous system is glucose. But what happens, people sometimes describe the calories from sugar as an empty calorie because they do not provide any nutrient if I talk about the white sugar. However, we know that excess of everything is bad. Not only sugar, if we take off excess of anything, whether it is ghee or even if we talk about protein or vitamins, if we take in excess, it is going to harm it in one or the other way.
Yeah.
So the idea that sugar is inherently a bad is myth. We all need sugar. That's the basic block of what runs our bodies to survive. So basically, sugar is not an luxurious food, but it is an essential component of our food. That we should know. But generally, what happens? Sugary foods, they happen to be lots. There are lots of calories, and they are processed heavily. So generally, what happens? We eat a lot of calorie if we take this without having the idea that how much calorie intake we are having, and we take a lot of calorie and we gain weight and become unhealthy. So sugar is basically not responsible. It is the excess calorie that we are taking without our conscious that thing happen. Because if we talk about the diabetes also, basically sugar is not responsible for diabetes. It is because of the improper functioning of the insulin. Because of one or the other reasons, insulin is responsible. Although when we get diabetes, the sugar is prohibited or it is taken into limited amount or in moderation. But basically, sugar is not responsible for diabetes. Same thing happen. Talk about the dental health. कहते क्या है, मीठा खाने से हमारे दांतों में कैविटी हो गई और हमारे एनाबल खराब हो गए. Basically, मीठा is sugar is not responsible. There are bacteria in our mouth that are naturally present, and now when we consume sugar or we consume the carbohydrate and we don't take proper hygiene, हमने ब्रश नहीं करा, हमने मुंह साफ नहीं करा, so that bacteria they consume the sugars or the carbohydrate that is present in our mouth, and जब कुछ खाया है तो they will excrete something. These bacteria they excrete acids. Now these acids they are responsible for the cavity or for the enamel problem जो होती है, enamel that is negatively impacted. So these bacteria are responsible. Sometimes our digestion problems or digestive issues are there, that is responsible for the cavity or the oral this thing.
Oral problems.
So basically sugar is not responsible. Whether it is obesity, whether it is diabetes or the heart diseases, or there is no scientific evidence so far. So we should monitor the calories that we are taking, that is recommended for our body type, how much calories we are taking, and how much we are able to burn or through our lifestyle or through the workout and whatever activity we are doing in day-to-day life. So that should be monitored instead of blaming entirely sugar.
There are many benefits of eating sugar, but there are many people who thinks that sugar is just a mere empty calories. Then for them, I would like to tell that nature have given another alternative for the sugar, which is jaggery. Well, eating jaggery will not harm you. Instead, it will also boost your immune system and give different nutrients like iron and other beneficiary nutrients. So, ma'am, since you have been working on jaggery, one thing I want to like to ask, while comparing sugar, this jaggery with the sweeteners, which one is better and why we should take that?
Yes, Robin, I would like to answer this question because there is quite a myth in the market or in our day-to-day life that people say कि हम सफेद चीनी नहीं खा सकते हैं, but you can eat jaggery. So I want to tell you, like if we talk about sugar, and here we are referring to sucrose.
Mm-hmm.
So in jaggery as well as in the white sugar, the sugar is sucrose. Now, what is the basic difference is that in white sugar, there is more than 99%, it is sucrose. It is meant of sucrose. Now, if we talk about jaggery, in liquid jaggery, the sucrose is around 50 to 65%. And in solid jaggery, it is around 80 to 82%. This much of sucrose is found. And apart from this sucrose, there are several vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, the elements which you said right now, calcium, iron content is there, magnesium is there, manganese is there. So all these constituents are found in jaggery, which is not found in white sugar. So when you consume jaggery instead of white sugar, apart from the sweetness, you get this extra beneficial vitamins, minerals, and antioxidant that further however, it is giving sweetness, but apart from that, it is also increasing the immune system of your body, and it is giving nutrition to your body, and overall it sweetness तो वो दे ही रहा है. Apart from that, it is also providing you nutrition that we did not get from the white sugar. White sugar is responsible for giving you instant energy. But if you consume jaggery, you will have energy and you will have additional minerals, vitamins, antioxidants. And there are several different type of antioxidant in jaggery, which has been assessed by different countries, Japan and India and several other countries, that are very good for our immune system. So, and if we consider our literature, our earlier ancient literature, if we talk about India, there is a mention of jaggery, and they used to prepare hundreds of medicine out of this jaggery. So this is the basic difference. And if I talk about today's jaggery, like you see, what happens basically, people consume white sugar instead of jaggery. There are several reasons. There are hygiene is one of the thing, and one of the most important thing in our day-to-day life, that we don't consume jaggery and we go for white sugar, is because of the convenience. The jaggery, it is found either in the form of laddu or in square shape. Now if you want to add in your sweet dish or your hot or the cold beverages, you need to toro it, or you have to crush it down for the convenience. However, the white sugar, it is present in the form of small molecules, and you can very easily put in any of your beverages or any of your cuisines easily. So now in the market, there are several companies, they are bringing the powdered form of jaggery, and it is very convenient to use in all your cuisines and all your beverages. That not only is going to impart the sweetness, but it will also give you additional benefits of the, as I say, the vitamins, minerals, and the different types of elements that is present, along with the antioxidant that further helps in the improving your immune system and nutrition to your body.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being on the show. It was great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.